So this gauge just tests how much air is actually in the concrete to see if it meets the specified rating.
So the structural engineer has a table that we work off, and it says for each different part of the building how much air, or if no air, should be in the concrete. So that's how he knows what to look for.
So we gotta fill this up. Here, even this off. This is what actually measures the air. This gets locked down in place. And we fill this void down here with water. After this is filled up, we pressurize the cylinder here by pumping it, and when you hit the release, it'll give us the measurement on how much air is actually in the concrete.
So in order to be able to do the testing, there was some training that you had to do.
Yes.
And so what kinds of training?
Honestly, it was mostly field training.
Okay.
Our senior DBA associates, you know, I went out on multiple jobs with them, and it was all field training. You know, don't need any kind of degrees or anything. As long as you have a good teacher, I mean, you can pick it up.
And what are like all the different types of testing that you do for DBA?
We do soil testing, which involves the types of soil and the compaction. We also do the rebar inspections, all the trenches, all the areas that they've poured concrete. Before they were able to pour concrete, we had to check the integrity of the trench as well as the rebar. Concrete testing, we do the air testing, we do what's called a slump test, which checks the flexibility and workability of the concrete. If it's too low or too high, it could cause problems later. And then we actually also take test cylinders back to the lab, and at set days, we do compaction testing to check the strength of the concrete. If the concrete doesn't meet the specified strength at that time, the worst case scenario, they have to rip the concrete out and pour it all over again. So, that's the test cylinder we normally use. It is a 3x8 size. By rodding it, we're simulating the vibration used to settle the concrete, make sure everything's compact. Measure. And there you go. After about 24 hours, this will be hard and cured, and we'll be taking it back to our lab, and after 14 days will be the first what we call cylinder break. Here.
So the slump test is checking the water to cement ratio.
Yeah, so what it tests is the workability. If the slump ends up being too low, that means it's stiffer.
I guess we should explain. Slump is very literal. It's
Yes.
how much when you take the cone off, the concrete drops.
Yes, it is. Quite literally the slump. Once again, there's stand here.
Why we saw them put some water in. Same with the air content. There's a guide in the structural drawings that tells us, depending on what part of the building you're in, exactly what slump you should be getting.
Every test we do, we have to make sure the amount of concrete being tested is struck off even. Make sure that every test is done using the same standard. Nice and slow. What they ordered today was a 6 slump, and that is a 7. So it's a little high, but that's better to be high than low. And that is all there is to it for today.